Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I am reviewing the Fenty Skin Tint Eavesdrop Skin Tint Eavesdrop something. I'm reviewing the new Fenty product. Today I will be doing a try on as well as a wear test and comparing it against different products that claim to do similar or just in the general light coverage skin tint field of makeup. So if you find this video helpful, it'd be really nice if you press pause and like the video. And then also make sure you subscribe for weekly videos, and I think that's it. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So right now I have nothing on my face except for a moisturizer, and I'm using shade 5 of the Eavesdrop Skin Tint. So I have used this once before. I used it with a brush, I believe, and it was decently full coverage, surprisingly. Covered up quite a bit of my freckles and a lot of my blemishes and stuff like that. But I think I'm gonna try one face with a brush and then the other side with a sponge just to compare and see how they look. Okay, so there's one side with the foundation, and I guess it's not a foundation, it's a skin tint, compared to nothing over here, and this is with a brush. So I would say it's pretty light coverage, but it's actually pretty good. Definitely very glowy. Kind of almost looks like pretty wet over here. Pretty solid. Definitely kind of has like a filtered effect. So this side is with nothing obviously, and this side kind of just looks like there's, I mean, I guess like a tint on it. So I'm gonna try this side with a sponge. Okay, so this side obviously has about the same amount of coverage. I do like the sponge side a little bit better than the brush side. It seems to be a little less like wet looking than the brush side. It kind of looks like a lot more natural and not as reflective. But for the most part, they look about the same. Very light coverage all around. I did have a little blemish down here and it's covered up decently well. I'll probably still put concealer on it, but it's actually not too bad, I think. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup. I'm probably gonna try and use all Fenty products as much as possible. And then I'll be right back and show you the final look now. Okay, so I just finished the rest of my makeup. For the cheeks, I'm wearing the Fenty Cream Bronzer in the shade Macchiato. For the blush, wearing Fenty Cream Blush in the shade Daiquiri Dip. On the eyes is the Moroccan Spice palette, and then the lips is the Fenty Beauty Slip Shine in the shade Makeout Break. So I guess we'll see how this goes. I have some stuff to do today. Right now it's currently almost 10 o'clock. I need to go get my second shot, and then I will be back and do a check-in sometime later, probably closer towards the end of the day, to see how it wears. As far as the skin tint goes, I think it looks fine. I mean, it's just a really nice light coverage skin tint. I think it's a little bit more coverage than the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. I think this is probably the most coverage skin tint that I have, or most coverage for a lighter foundation type of product thing. I think that probably the Ilia one is a little bit better because it does have some extra moisture built into it as well as some extra sun protection built into it. And this, I believe, does not have SPF or any additional ingredients that would provide moisture. But I mean, it's fine. I think it looks fine right now. I guess we'll just see how it wears throughout the rest of the day, because it could be a lot more long lasting than the other options I have. So I'll check in on that. Whenever I was first filming my foundation, putting it on, I did a swatch on my hand to see how it would oxidize. So let me do a fresh swatch now to see how it looks. So here's this fresh swatch and here's the swatch from earlier. So you can tell it definitely oxidizes down a different shade. I bought this in the shade 5, which is for golden undertones. As you can tell when you initially swatch it, it does look golden, but the one next to it that's been sitting for a while actually goes a little bit peach, or pinky colors. So that's definitely not my undertone. It definitely goes down to a different undertone, and I've never seen that before. That's kind of unusual. I did notice that the first time I wore it, that when I first applied it, it looked great. And then later in the day, it looked like my skin just looked like a different color. I don't know, it was kind of unusual. So I guess I'll be on the lookout for that. Maybe the sponge side will be a little bit kinder to the oxidation versus the brush side, since there's probably a little bit more product on the brush side. But yeah, that's kind of a big difference. So I'm back for my first check-in. I've been wearing the skin tint for about 6 hours, I want to say. So it's now like in the afternoon. I have gone out, put on a mask, and it looks about the same, honestly. It wore off a little bit on the nose, like on the sides of my nose a little bit. And other than that, it hasn't broken down too terribly. It still looks pretty nice and fresh. And I haven't noticed anything weird about the way it wears on my skin yet. Like I said, I have worn it before, just one time before I started filming this video, and I didn't have any issues with breakdown or with it rubbing off in weird places unusually or unevenly. So it's definitely seeming to have like a nice even fade to it. I swatched out the skin tint and compared it to 3 other light coverage skin products. So the first one is the Fenty Pro Filter Hydrating Foundation. That one I believe is in shade 235. And that is on the far left side. And then the next one is the Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer. That's in the shade Light. And then the next one is the Fenty Skin Tint, again in the shade 5. And then the one after that is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. So I swatched 2 swatches for each of the products. The first swatch was about 30 minutes before the second swatch. And the second swatch I tried filming as soon as possible after I swatched it. As you can tell, the skin tint swatch, the second one, actually looks just like the first one. It dried down very, very quickly, and it already oxidized down a shade. So that's something that I really don't love about this product, is that it does change color. If I knew that it oxidized this bad, I would have gone down a shade. I probably would have gotten shade 3 instead of shade 5, just to get the undertones correct and to get the correct depth and color. I will say the way it feels and applies, it definitely dries down quite a bit more than the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. That one stays pretty dewy all day and it doesn't really dry down. If that's something you're interested in, yeah, it's really just a preference thing. On the face, it still looks pretty fresh and pretty dewy, even though it's not. So you can even tell with the Fenty Pro Filter Foundation that that one also appears to have oxidized quite a bit. It has a moussier feeling than the skin tint does. That one also oxidizes down just a half shade on that one. It's not too terribly different, but the difference is that the Pro Filter Foundation line has a lot more options than the skin tint line, so that's something to keep an eye out for. So other than that, it's a pretty solid product. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it more than any of the other one. It's not really like a product that I think you have to go out and get right away. It's not very special to me, but it definitely has a place. If you're looking for a product that's very light coverage, you may want to consider it. And if you do care about having a good dry down texture, just make sure that you know that it oxidizes a shade deeper. So keep an eye out for that. I think that's it. So if you like this video, it'd be really helpful if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly videos. Let me know if there's a product out there that you would like me to review next, and I guess I'll see you at the same time, at the same place next week. Bye. You know, I was just thinking that I'm not gonna have any good outros for this video. Like I didn't say anything extra today. Like I was down to business, nothing extra to say. I just want to give you the tea real quick, okay?